I'm going to show you how to seriously improve your putting. It's not complicated. This is the art of simple golf, and I'm going to show you to be consistent, to be repeatable, and confident on the greens is way easier than you think. Every single one of you can become a better putter when you do this. Obviously, there are so many variables when it comes to putting. The course you're playing, the greens, the speed, the slopes, your age, the length of putter. So many things we can't always control. But there's a couple of things we can do to ensure that we can execute our consistent stroke every time. Because you need to remember, every putt is straight. Think about it for a second. All you're tasked with when you have a putter in your hand is to start it on the line that you want, at the pace that you want. Green reading, that's a whole ball of wax. But your only task that you can control is to start that putt on a straight line. And this is how you're going to do it. So I'm actually putting on the Prime Putt mat, right? This is actually a wonderful thing you can get for home. Obviously you can just do this on the carpet, but this has a really nice true roll to it, a nice speed, and it's got some fabulous features with the style of the cups and the backstop to, stop any wayward hard putts. It works really well. Now, of course, there's different grips. We've got right hand below left, left hand below right. We've got the claw, you got the pencil, you got various grips. I'm not talking about any of that. I don't care about that. All I want us to go through are some key checkpoints that you can rehearse, that you can ingrain, that you can repeat. So when you go out on a golf course, you have the necessary skills that you can repeat to execute the straight putt that you have chosen, which is the goal, right? Because we want to try and hit straight putts. That's what we can control. To do that, we need a repeatable stroke. To have a repeatable stroke, we need to have a repeatable setup. And I'm going to show you some very important, simple keys that you can practice at home to start dialing in that repetition. All right, so let's go on with it. Now, the first tip, shoes. This might seem a little bit odd, but the difference that putting on your carpet at home or whatever in your bare feet or flip-flops or different shoes to you normally play in creates a variable, a slight difference in feel of how we're interacting with the ground. It plays more of a factor than I would say most people realize. So even when you're just messing at home for a few minutes, practicing your putting, hopefully doing this, wear your golf shoes. As long as you don't tread mud through the house, you should be all right. And there's no spikes on the shoes. Obviously I don't have here, but first tip, get the right shoes on, okay? The next key that I want to talk about is not so much the specificity to say you've got to do it this particular way. But what we want to try and find is a nice comfortable posture and balance, all right? What we're trying to do is not hinge at the waist too much. We are just allowing ourselves to stay kind of neutral in the pelvis and just allow ourselves to bend from the thoracic spine a little bit here, so we're not feeling too rigid or tight around the core, because we want our arms to hang naturally, okay? Now this is where a bit of putting fitting comes in, making sure you've got the right length putter, because you might find that when you hang naturally, your putter might be too short and you've got to go down here, and then suddenly that feels like a manipulation. All we're trying to do is make sure that we get into a good, comfortable position. As far as weight distribution, I would generally suggest about 60% on the front side, almost feeling like you've got a bit more of a straight kind of firm left side here, or lead side. Obviously if you're going that way, it's going to feel like the left arm, the left leg, and this side is kind of a bit more solid, all right? And the only action that we're going to think about when I'm talking today is really just drawing this right shoulder back, okay, working from there, and then pulling through with the left. It's not a tilting, it's not a rocking, it's a slight rotation. But that is assisted by having a better setup. If we're hanging back here, we can tend to do this, or we see a lot of putters when people are a bit too bent over, for example, right? What's going to happen is they end up sort of steering it this way. We don't want that either. So having a nice balanced position, left and right, forwards and backwards. We want stability. So find your balance point. Let those arms hang. Okay, that's going to give you a pretty good measure of where we need to be as far as posture goes, all right? At least on a basic level. Let's get on to the next one. Grab yourself some tape or something to mark the floor with, hopefully. isn't a Sharpie. I'm going to say this word a lot, but it's about repetition. All of this is about repeatability, and the more we repeat it in training, the more we're going to repeat it automatically, subconsciously. Because what we're trying to get away from is the shuffling around, trying to find the different placements. Because you'll be amazed that even a change in distance from the ball, let's say I'm about a putter head away from the ball here, from my feet. So I'm crouched over, my head is way past it. Okay, that's going to create a very different stroke rather than if I was to stand further away, almost like a bit like a full shot. Okay, I'm exaggerating here, but you know what I mean, right? So it's about like that, and then we're kind of trying to lift it up, or we flip through, all sorts of stuff. We want the distance that the ball is from our setup to be the same every time, as much as we can make it. How do we do that? With our friend the tape. So what you're going to do is take your feet and you're going to get into your setup position. So you're going to take some tape and I'm going to put it over each foot here. What that's going to do is show me where I'm going to place my feet. Right, so that's where my feet are. That's my stance width, about shoulder width away. And I'm going to find my sort of balance point from here. But I'm going to make sure that my tippy toes are always on the edge of that tape. Okay, I'm not aiming for a particular hole here, but we're just trying to make sure we get this correct. But where does the ball go? We get our setup. We're going to make sure, as a general guide, you'll see from this way, it's always pretty much going to be a standard grip length away. That's a very good little measure. And you can also drop the ball like from your eye line here. And what we want to do is see where that lands. And that was just on the edge of the putter grip, which was kind of where it should be, but I want the ball to be just a little bit on the outside of that. Why? Because that's going to help the arc stroke a little bit more. Rather than rocking backwards and forwards this way, it's going to create more of an arc encouragement. So we now place the ball just outside of the grip here. Okay, it's going to place it about there. And what I have is I can put a little bit of tape there to signify the distance from my ball. And automatically I've kind of put the ball in the correct ball placement, left and right, because if we go too far back, that's going to change it. If we go too far forward, we pretty much want the ball position to be just sort of the ball to be just inside our left eye. Okay, so that's where my left eye would be, and that's a little bit too far ahead because that can cause us to lift up a little bit too much or not really strike the putter solid. So it's going to be moved back just a fraction here. Okay, get rid of the tape for now. And what this is doing, it's giving me a foundation, a reliable foundation that I now practice my putting with. Okay, I'm now practicing my putting. Ooh, a little bit too fast. But I can keep repeating this setup. Now obviously on here there's different lengths that I could use. You can, no matter where you are, just work on the same sort of setup checkpoint. Now, an honorable mention here is using a mirror. You've seen those training aid mirrors where you can putt through them. They are effective because you can see where your eyes are hitting the same time. And it also helps another factor I'm going to show you in a moment. But you can use a phone just to help calibrate as well, just like the set it on the camera and see your own reflection. But I do prefer just the tape method because it's something you can control a bit more. And you're always going to have it on you even before you play. You can warm up and work out the calibration that you need to set up every time perfectly for you. So once we've got these major keys down, all we're going to do is rehearse and ingrain this into our game. Just keep repeating it till it becomes automatic. So no, you don't do this on every single putt when you're out on the course or even every single putt you're practicing at home. But the more you practice it, the more you can calibrate and repeat the same action. So let me give you something for your stroke. Another little checkpoint we can utilize is just ensuring that we have a square setup. Pretty much square in the legs, square in the chest, and square across the shoulders, all right? Just making sure that you're not too skew-whiff, because if you approach a lot of putts sort of walking in from a certain direction, you're sort of walking down and around, your right shoulder can often get way over the top, so we're aiming a bit too far left, but you might not even realize it. So using an alignment stick just to help, word of the day, calibrate, to make sure that your setup is neutral and square. Again, that's where it's going to be repeatable. I guess I also should mention grip pressure and arm pressure. You can hold the putter a lot firmer than perhaps you think. It's that old adage of, hold it like an injured bird or something, or like a tube of toothpaste. I would prefer you to think of it like a hammer. As if you had to hammer something, how would you hold it? You wouldn't be like gripping it tight, no, but you also wouldn't be letting it flop around. So think of it like a hammer. It's the same kind of tension in the arms, because we're trying to control everything with the chest, the thoracic spine, and the shoulders, rather than the hands, okay? So the looser the hand, if the hands are too loose, we can have too much movement. If they're too tight, we have too much rigidity. So try and find a balance of thinking about a hammer. I'm not going to give you a number out of 10, because it's all relative to what you think. Hold the hammer, hold the putts. The final little tip I'm going to give you is actually just about having a repeatable follow through, okay? To make sure that you don't chase the putt with your eyes, your upper body, your head. We're not moving too much this way. We're not flipping through here. We're not creating too many variables again. It's not just about distance control, it's about strike quality control. And when you have a nice tempo and a repeatable tempo, you're going to hold more putts. So what we want to look at is following along from that stronger lead side, a bit more weight over here, letting everything feel a little bit straighter, a bit more of a straight line over this way. What we're going to do is try and make sure that we finish not much past our lead foot here. Doesn't have to be precise. Again, this isn't about teaching you to be the world's best putter. It's just helping you suck less, basically. So we're going to try and create this setup. And now I'm going to see where my putt finishes, okay? Now, there, I went a bit too far to where I wanted to, and the putt missed left. If I exaggerate it a little bit and I stop the putt and I sort of jam it that way, the face opened and it just caught the right edge, but it was a snatchy putt. So we need to be able to repeat with the same kind of cadence, the same tempo, right shoulder back, left shoulder up, but I'm trying to hit the same spot here every time. And the way we can calibrate it, the way we can rehearse and ingrain this is using a bit of tape again. So what we're going to do is just place a bit of tape approximately where I sort of want my putter to end, let's say. And now I'm just going to give myself that little objective, okay? I'll give myself that little objective to make sure that I just stop there. Hey presto, the putt went in. Does this stopping point apply to longer putts, I hear you ask? Well, yes, pretty much. If you do have a longer putt, you still want to try and finish about here. Sometimes, sure, it's going to go a little bit longer, but what we're talking about is the cadence, because remember, you're not always just going to putt that speed. You're not going to do that speed if you've got a 40-foot putt, but you're going to do it if you've got a 6-foot putt. We don't necessarily want to do a longer, smoother stroke to make it go 30 feet. We just want to improve that cadence with positivity. And again, if you can still finish more or less the same place every time, you are going to have consistency, okay? Doesn't matter if it goes a little bit more ahead, it's about your intentions and that reliability. So when you create a little station like this and use it frequently, even just a couple of minutes a day or a few minutes a week, you will be astonished at how much it can help you. That's it for now, my friends. I'm sure that is going to improve your putting consistency dramatically. Now, check out this video because it's going to help you get on the green more often in regulation. So those putts won't be for bogeys, they might even be for birdies. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.